So hi everyone, this is Country Music News International. My name is Nigel Sharpe, and today I am speaking to Tebey. I did spot your surname, but as an artist name, you just go as Tebey. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it worked for Cher, so I figured
Yeah,
I figured it could work for me.
there you go.
Yeah.
So I was just sort of chatting informally to Tebey about his connections with the UK. So I was quite fascinated to see that you co-hosted a radio show with the whispering Bob Harris. How did that come about?
Oh yeah, that was they invited me to co-host a segment on Bob Harris's show for C2C Festival in London probably 3 years ago now.
Right.
And after that, I got back to Nashville and I got a random phone call from his producer asking me if I would be interested in co-hosting their CMA Fest radio show. And then CMA Fest, of course, is the big music festival in Nashville every year
Yeah.
where all of the country music fans from all over the world come here and hear the music and for a big concert over 3 or 4 days. And I got to co-host that, which was amazing. I interviewed some amazing artists, Kane Brown, Thomas Rhett, Cole Swindell, Lainey Wilson, Kelsey Ballerini. It was an amazing experience. But yeah, I have another UK connection as well. I used to live there. I used to live in just outside of Wimbledon, in London, and my grandfather's from Norwich, so I feel like I've got quite the connection.
So where does all the kind of the Nigerian connection come from in terms of your name, for instance?
Yeah, my father is from Nigeria in West Africa, and that's where my name comes from. But the cool thing about my dad is, I'd say obviously there's not a lot of country music in Nigeria, of course, but when he came to Canada, he became a big country music fan.
Right.
People like George Strait, Charlie Pride,
Mhm.
and I started learning about country music through him.
But yeah, that's nice. You got together with Bob Harris. Being from the UK myself, I was kind of interested in that, in your connections. But as I understand it, these days you're based in Nashville. You moved from London, Ontario, down to Nashville, Tennessee. When was that actually?
Wow, probably 2001 ish. Yeah, wow, time flies. I feel older than I am, but I moved when I was very young. I was 16 years old when I
Right.
first moved to Nashville from Canada, and have pretty much been here ever since. I moved back to the Toronto area for a couple of years and met my wife, and then we came back down here to Nashville. But yeah, Nashville has been home for a very long time. But of course, I still carry my Canadian roots, and we have a place back home, and I go up to Canada quite a bit.
What was the driving force for you to go to Nashville in the first place? Was there a specific aim that you had in mind?
You know, I had a record deal. I was offered a record deal when I was really young.
Right.
So I went down there to pursue that. Obviously, I was a minor at the time, so my father left his job and moved to Nashville with me, and my mom stayed back home with my siblings. Yeah, so it's been a long road. But yeah, I moved to Nashville because I got a record deal and never really looked back. I've kind of traveled many different paths. I've had a career as a songwriter as well as an artist in my own right, and we could touch on that a little bit as well. But it's great that I'm able to, or I have been able to write songs for other people as well as for myself over the years in different genres of music.
Yeah. Yeah. On your website, it states, artist, songwriter, producer. Out of those three, I mean, do you have a favorite?
Um, Not really. The best part of what I do is performing live.
Right.
I think that it's hard to beat that. It's hard to get up. It's hard to beat getting up on stage and hearing people sing the songs back to you. It's hard to beat having people spend their hard-earned money to come watch you
Mhm.
perform music. So I think that's the best part of what I do. I would choose that over any of the other for sure. but I do love writing songs for other people. When the creative process is easy, then writing songs is very enjoyable. But it's hard. It's hard writing hit songs. It's hard writing songs in general. So when the
Yeah.
ideas aren't flowing as easily as they should, then I would definitely choose performing.
Now, you've written some #1 songs for other people. And how does that actually happen? I mean, do you actually submit these songs to specific artists, or how does that work? So, I mean, for
Yeah,
instance, in the
the process.
UK, sorry, I was going to say
Yep.
in the UK, Pixie Lott had I think it was a #1 hit with one of your songs. How did that come about?
Hmm. That was, I mean, every time I get a song recorded by another artist, the process is different. It depends. Sometimes it goes through the A&R person at the record company. Sometimes I know the artist myself directly and I just send them the song. It's like any other business in life. You want to be successful, you have to have connections and network and work hard. And yeah, the story behind every song and how it got to the artist is different every single time. But usually I go directly to the artist when possible, because then you're skipping all the red tape.
Yeah.
There's all the gatekeepers. If you can go around the gatekeepers, the managers, the A&R man at the label, then it's a lot easier if you can go to the artist directly.
What about the producing side of things?
Yeah, I love producing. It's a little more time consuming than I like. I feel like I have a hard time, paying attention for long spans of time. But I do enjoy writing a song and then taking it to the studio, recording it, and finishing it with a final production. There's something very gratifying about that, starting from nothing and finishing with a final product. Yeah, I do love that process as well.
So, are you producing for other artists or just for yourself, or both?
Sometimes I used to produce for other people more than I do these days. Mostly I'm just working on my own stuff, but I still write songs for other people, but not necessarily intentionally. I just try to write a great song every time I sit down to write. I just want to make the best song possible, and I believe that uh, a song will always find its proper home. Sometimes I write songs and I think it's going to go to one artist, and it ends up going to another. It happens all the time. So I just try to write the best song I can, and I know that song, if it's good enough, it'll find the right home, whether it's with me or someone else.
Okay. What about a songwriting process? I mean, some people have a process, some people don't. Is there any kind of method for you?
The only process I have is I like to write a song. I like to start songs by having the title at the very least. Some people can sit down at a piano or with a guitar and just write music, and eventually they'll put words to the music. I'm not that type of writer. I like to have the song title, or at least the general idea of what I'm trying to write about, before I sit down to write. And then, because for me, then it's just easier to map out the song and what it'll
Mhm.
sound like. So that typically is my process. But everybody's different.
Yeah. Let's go back to your music sort of side, your artist side of things. You've just released a new single, "Hold Your Horses." How long has that been out, actually?
That's been out probably 4 months now. I think we released it
Okay.
in January. Yeah, so Hold Your Horses has done really well for us. It's an fun up tempo country song, and everything took a bit of a left turn with my cover version of Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. That hit us completely unexpectedly. It was one of those things where I just recorded a quick version and put it up on my socials, and next thing you know, it had 12 million views after 3 days and went viral around the world. And our focus has kind of switched to that, if I'm honest, because we were kind of forced to. The demand was just so
Yeah.
high. I mean, we've
Okay.
already had millions and millions and millions of streams on this song. So my focus for the next 4 or 5 months for sure is going to be Blinding Lights, my country version of that song.
And what about sort of albums? Are the plans in the works?
I think so. Yeah, I'm kind of always writing. So I feel that, yeah, at some point there's going to be a new album. I'm definitely due for one. I haven't had an album out in probably 3 years now, but yeah, I think there will be an album probably towards the end of the year. I would hope. I just got to get through this summer touring season. Things are starting to get busy over here with touring starting next week. So I'm going to be gone pretty much every weekend this summer. So it's going to make it hard to record.
Let's go back to the sort of live side of things. Now, I know you've been over here and you've done the C2C festival. Is it once or twice now?
I think I've done it twice. It was a little while ago. COVID like put a wrench in everything, so I can't keep track of dates anymore. We've got a show coming up in Cologne in August, which is part of the Sound of Nashville Open Air Festival. It's the first ever outdoor country music festival in Germany. That's what I'm told. So I'm excited to be a part of the first ever year for that. And I've played Cologne before. It's a beautiful part of Germany.
It is. So where is it you're playing in London? Do you know the venue?
I'm playing at I do, yeah. It's called Omira. It's in the East End, not too far from like Southwark, that type of area of London. And it's going to be great. It's my first ever headline show, sponsored or presented by Live Nation, which is huge. And I'm really excited about it. I'm a little bit nervous. You know, it's never easy selling a hard ticket, especially country music in the UK. But I think we're going to be just fine. And I think we're going to sell it out. And we're going to go back to the UK I'm hoping November to do a proper tour, which will include Germany and some other parts of Europe as well, including Scandinavia. So we've got some pretty big plans coming up here for the next 6 months when it comes to touring in both the UK and parts of Europe.
Well, on that very positive note, I think we can kind of draw this to a close. I have to keep these interviews down to a reasonable length, otherwise I get into trouble. Hey, Tebey, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us. We really do appreciate it because, you know, we are trying to do our little bit for bringing country music and all the aspects of what is modern country to people. And we appreciate what you're doing.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. You know, you're helping to grow country music over there, and that's a big part of it. I mean, with people like yourself, without you guys, you know, I don't know how much people would have access to the music other than the streaming platforms, you know, but you guys are you're definitely helping. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Anyway, I look forward to seeing you sometime soon here in Germany, hopefully. And thanks again. And it's goodbye from us.
Bye. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.